There's a lot of problems with their testimony. I have the police tapes as well. And I will tell you that they are not believable. The jury, the foreman of the jury, who I interviewed for my show, True Crime, I did an hour on this, okay, said that the jury, the final crowning piece was that they did not believe not only the testimony of the accuser, but nor did they believe the initial statements of the accuser to the police. And they watched that video over and over again to see if there was any truth to it. I have that video. I've seen the video. I've watched it myself a few times. And I asked the court clerk when I was watching that video the first time, I don't have a 13-year-old boy. I don't have a teen child. Is this how a teen child would discuss having sex or being involved in sex with anybody? And she said, absolutely not. So all I can go by is what the jury thought, what impartial parties thought, and what I now think looking at it. The kid, yes, kids don't like to talk about being molested, and you get that, and you know that. You go in watching the video thinking that, you get that. But this kid was having police put words in his mouth, and you watch it and you see it. And so, again, there's a reason the jury found Michael Jackson innocent. And it wasn't because they were, impressed by his stardom. Believe me, these people took their jobs very seriously. I interviewed not just the foreman, more than one juror on that trial. And these people took their job very seriously, and they sat there, they listened to all the evidence, and they realized what it was. It was a game by a bunch of grifters who were looking for a big payout. And it was a way for a prosecutor, namely Tom Sneddon, to get back at Jackson for the case he never was able to try regarding Jordy Chandler because there was a settlement. That's what that was all about. My opinion,
yeah.
And I will never change it because I lived it.
Okay, clarify a couple of things for me. You said you've never had any teen children yourself?
No, I don't have any children.
Okay, I was just checking. Okay. Now, just to clarify, I'm a defense investigator. I like to, I want my clients to see a fair trial every time. And I don't mind if my client gets a better deal than he deserves. I'll go along with that. So I have no problem with a guy getting off on a case. Now, as far as Sneddon goes, he has no history of any kind of complaints against him, does he?
He has a history of going around the world trying to find people to charge Michael Jackson with molestation against. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He actually would leave the country to try to bring people in to try to continue to try Michael Jackson. It was a mission for him for his life.
Well, because some of these other, yeah, sure, I know this case very well, and so, even before. By the way, I'm aware of this case before Jordy Chandler. I've heard about these allegations before Jordy Chandler became public. I didn't want to spring that on you, but now, but the thing is,
I've heard about the allegations too. None of us are living in a bubble here.
Okay.
I mean, I have friends who claim they've seen him with little boys in Mexico on the elevator. I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't there. All I know is that from what I'm telling you, the trial that happened in Santa Maria was a sham, and it was a game. Now, what happened prior to that, some of it I don't know if I believe. Some of it maybe I do believe. I don't know what to believe anymore because the man is dead and gone. But I will say this. Without a doubt, the media wanted to lynch Michael Jackson, and they managed to do it because after that trial, he never really recovered. He left the country, and by the time he got back here, he was already, physically and mentally gone. That's what happened to Michael Jackson.
Right. You know what? See, I'm not too so. Is that the focus of your book? Is that he was treated unfairly by the media?
No. The focus of my book is what happened in the trial.
Right. Okay. Now, because besides, and you talk about the Bashir video, but besides, he talked about sleeping with other boys in his bed, the Macaulay Culkin boy and his younger brother, but it was all innocent and it was all okay. Now that alone should raise concern, but also too on video he's seen.
By the way, that nothing ever happened. You do know that.
I do know that, but still, it's more than wildly inappropriate for a grown man to be sleeping in a bed with strange little boys.
Ed,
yeah.
Why are we having this conversation? How many people have had this conversation for years on end? We know that we feel it's inappropriate. Right. It's not a question. Do you think that I'm sitting here saying, oh, it's everybody sleeps with little boys in their bed? Of course we know that's not the case. Michael Jackson had a chimpanzee named Bubbles.
Right.
Okay? I mean...
Who was also abused, by the way.
You know, I mean, what was it about Michael Jackson's life that was normal? Exactly.
Right. It's a pattern of behavior. Like, even in the Bashir video, he's dangling his infant.
About all the aspects of his life.
Yeah. Right.
Not just the accusations about whether or not he was a pedophile, but all the other bizarre things he had in his life. What's the pattern of having chimpanzees and llamas and animals and wanting the friends of it? He would talk about how animals were his friends. He wanted to have a celebrity animal birthday party. I mean, what is normal about Michael Jackson?
Right, nothing normal, including his disregard for his own children, that he dangled a baby from a terrace.
And that is such an unfair characterization of him, by the way. That
really?
was part of the Bashir documentary, which Bashir was lucky enough to have been brought along to Germany with Jackson in his one-year tour with Michael. And by the way, Michael held that baby out because he had hundreds, if not thousands of fans below waiting and wanting to see his new baby. If you watch what Michael said about it, which you can't because it's on the tapes that were never shown, Michael says, I never was holding the baby out so that he could be falling. I showed my fans my baby because they were begging to see him. I held him up for a second or a few seconds so they could see him, and the media ran it over and over and over again, making it look like I was trying to throw my baby over a balcony. I have that tape.
Well, yeah, I heard him say that too. But my God, it is. I can't think of anything more irresponsible than holding. Whether the fans are screaming, I don't care if it's a million fans. I don't care if they got guns down there. I'm not going to hang my kid over the balcony.
I don't know that you would be having a balcony with hundreds of people underneath you begging you to show them your baby either.
Okay. Even if they set fire to the building, I wouldn't hang my baby out the window. My God. Okay. Well,
and he held them for 15 seconds.
Even 1 second. For what point? For what point?
To show his fans who were begging to see the baby. You know, here's the thing, Ed.
Yeah.
And this is what you've got my hair standing up on its end, is that everything you're saying are all the accepted inappropriate behaviors of Michael Jackson that just for whatever reason, because the media decided to blow it up beyond belief, that's all we're going to remember about this person. You know, you try having a camera on you every minute of your life, and stalkers and paparazzi and everything else. You see what that feels like. I got a taste of it being at that trial, and let me tell you, it was not fun. Not fun. And so, you know, you can't look at Michael Jackson's every move and decide to scrutinize whatever it was he did, because the media was able to capture it on film and run it over and over and over again to the point that that's all we remember. Well, and put it on, splash it on the covers of rag magazines endlessly.
Well, okay, like the media, this documentary film company, Jinxed, followed William Durst, right? And they caught him confessing to murder. For 1 second.
The movie.
So he only did it for 1 second. He only held a baby out there for 1 second. He was only holding hands with this little boy and admitting he slept in a bed with this little boy for 1 second. Sure, it's all 1 second because we were lucky enough to capture this on film and see what he was doing.
Okay, look, I see that this is going to go nowhere with you.
Well, we only got a couple of minutes anyway.
I get your point.
Yeah.
You think he's guilty. I'm telling you I think he's not. And I think we need to leave it at that, because I am not going to continue to go around the rosy with you on this. I could, but I'm getting aggravated, and I really don't like to be aggravated in interviews.
Okay, now I can tell you're being aggravated. I don't want you to be aggravated, okay? We only got a couple minutes left anyway, okay?
Great. Because I'm not going to convince you, and you're not going to convince me.
Well, no, of course not. But, you know, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy your time on the show. I really am.
I'm not that I don't enjoy it. I just don't like to be so argumentative. It's just not my style.
Okay.
I mean, really.
Well,
and clearly we are not going to convince each other.
No, I'm very convinced of this case. I've been dealing with this.
I'm very convinced in this case.
Way before. Okay.
I'm very convinced way after.
Right.
Very convinced.
You want to real quick tell us about Cruel Sacrifice?
Cruel Sacrifice is a story of 4 teenage girls that killed, tortured, and burned alive a 12-year-old girl because of a lesbian love triangle that, for whatever reason, they decided a 12-year-old knew she was a lesbian. It is the most twisted tale of psychological trauma and how these girls got to be where they were through peer pressure and bizarre home behaviors of their families is really what the book's about. So the crime is something that happens early on, but it's really the psychological drama that leads these girls at 15 and 16 years old to do what they did. And that's what the book explores, and it tells it through the eyes of the teenagers, of the girls whom I interviewed. It's a very compelling, mortifying story about something that happened in America with teen violence that before any of the teen violence that we're quote unquote used to seeing these days. And frankly, when I wrote it, I had no idea that it would have the impact it did on teens and coming generations, but it has, and it was a cult classic back in time, and it is now just been released as an ebook, and it's already number 15 on Amazon, and that's because it's a completely different story than Michael Jackson. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything in it. I'm chronicling something that happened, a crime that never should have happened, and why the backdrop, as I talked to you in the beginning of this interview, why some of the signs, many of the signs which were ignored, should not have been.
Okay, Aphrodite, we got 10 seconds left. Thank you so much. Aphrodite Jones, we were talking about Michael Jackson conspiracy and also Cruel Sacrifice. It's just re-released right now. Investigation Discovery, 9 p.m. Monday nights. Thank you so much, Aphrodite Jones.
Thank you, Ed.
And now a word from our sponsors. Check out CartKing.com, 877-986-7771. Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Perhaps your current business wants to add multiple point-of-sale locations across the country quickly. Maybe the facility you manage could kickstart revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services, like let's say you own an office building or a warehouse. Put one of these carts there in the lobby. Well, CartKing.com can be the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail coffee and food carts and kiosks money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. From large, heated, and secure outdoor retail or food kiosks to smaller, more mobile coffee kiosks or coffee stations, coffee carts, CartKing.com designs and builds them all. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on the website, CartKing.com. Please visit today at CartKing.com or just call them at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you and you get a good deal. The Opperman Report is brought to you by SubhashTechnosis.com. Subash Technosis is a search engine optimization and website design company. They're located in India, so you know you're going to save a lot of money and get top quality service. They offer all sorts of business process outsourcing, data entry, banking BPO services, recruitment process outsourcing, software testing, offshoring, research network, customer care, press release, content writing and distribution, and much, much more. Now, you can get a hold of Subhash Technosis by email at info@subhashtechnosis.com. Their website is www.subhashtechnosis.com, and their Skype is ANUSH